What is good, everybody? It's akames-sharingan here, and here today to give you a new content. So this content is something I used to do, but for some reason I gave up on it. So I'm going to try my best to really try and think about this more often as much as I can. But yeah, so for anybody who's new to the channel and has not recognized this at all, maybe in the past, like maybe 4 months ago, I did a verse content, and it's based off of 2 characters from either anime and who would win against who, would it be a sudden death, and all that kind of stuff, etc. So with that being said, let's go. Akames-sharingan. So, here we have Erza Scarlet, and I'm going to be specific on what kind of Erza Scarlet arc are we talking about. So, we're going to be talking about Erza Scarlet during the Tarutarosarc, which is the arc in which Zeref was resurrected and out of nowhere beats his own people. Now, Erza is, during this arc, almost godlike, in my opinion. There were so many occasions where she almost died, but still managed to live, that it questions me. How would she do against an actual, like, Soul Reaper? Because she was at that brink already where I think she was personally dead. Like, at first, I thought she was just getting up because she was always stubborn and always willing to do whatever she can for the guild and for her own friends. But, so, Erza Scarlet during this arc, when she fought Kyoko, was very, and I'm not gonna lie, it was shocking to see what Erza's progress was, because she had all of her senses knocked out of her. The only thing that she had to defend herself left was the electromagnetic field that was surrounding her from her and her opponents. Now, the electromagnetic field in every battle situation, just so you guys know, if you guys don't know what an electromagnetic field is, once it comes to combat, electromagnetic field is the actual surrounding area's vibration. You're sensing of where the person might be, and you have a quicker reaction to the person as if it's like a battery recharging itself, and you have a wired mindset as to where that person might be. So notice how Erza actually has all of her senses blocked by Kyoko. Now, Kyoko was this girl who blocked out all of her senses and was abusing the living shit out of her until she finally had the good traits of a fighter, and that is adapting. Now, Erza has a lot of techniques. She has Requip, and Requip magic has a lot of features of sorts of suits that she could wear. Not actual suits, but like an armor. She has multiple types of armors with different effects and different builds. So, if I'm talking about the Heavenly Wield, I see more of a speed and physical attack. Her defensive one, I don't remember the name of it, but I see more of it have a defense, but slow in speed. So, Erza's Requip magic has its flaws indeed. So, Erza Scarlet versus Ichigo is quite the interesting thing, because Ichigo, despite how powerful he is, he's very rash with his decisions. He doesn't really make wise decisions. He's always been front forward with his opponents. He's always been the type to go head-to-head with them without having to run or anything. He don't really strategize. The only techniques that Ichigo has is Getsuga Tensho. Now, Getsuga Tensho is a spiritual move of Ichigo's that he learned from Tensa Zangetsu, or Zangetsu himself. So, the technique Getsuga Tensho is a spiritual move that takes in the life energy of your own and use it against your opponent. So that is quite the interesting thing. Notice the difference between them, obviously, is that they're both from different anime in different dimensions. But the only thing that really matters is who has the most stamina, who has the most energy. And personally, even though Ichigo, I know for a fact, has a lot more stamina than Erza would probably, Erza has a lot of potential of surprising people, where she is back to a corner after using so much magic that she does manage to pull off a win. Now, And when she pulls out the win, she goes into her absolute last resort, which is the clothing that she's actually wearing, with her breast being taped around, and she's wearing like kimono, like half dress with the katanas. So yeah, so I thought this would be pretty interesting because Ichigo, despite him having only one strategy in every combat that he's done, the only thing he's been mainly focused and always been driven by were by his friends. Now, both of these characters I know already have friendship on their mind, but the other thing that really matters to me is who can overpower the other. Personally, I feel like Erza and Ichigo, if Erza goes into the correct form, she could be on par with Ichigo. Now, I think the form that she is actually very powerful in and probably has the best chance of winning is the Heavenly Wheel. Because that has a lot of blades around her. You would think it's 100 knives or 100 blades, whatever you want to indicate it as. She has 100 blades circling around her, and she can throw all those knives at you at once, therefore giving Ichigo a disadvantage, because Ichigo, despite him having a flash drive, he has to teleport somewhere to avoid any damage. And there's 100 blades, so it's going to be almost impossible for him to actually deflect all of them in time. So I personally think this battle would probably end in a draw, mainly because Ichigo, even though he is very powerful, he does have a tendency of being very predictable. And Erza, even though she depends on one kind of technique, this one technique can actually form into different forms of armor. And these different forms of armor can change her physical attacks. But I think, personally, if I had to make a wild guess, I think nobody wins this fight. Remember, to be specific, just to make sure if any of you forgot during this conversation, Ichigo during the Shinigami Rescue Rukia arc, and then Erza versus Ichigo while Erza is in her Tarutarosarc arc. So keep that in mind. Don't try to go into the manga or anything like that, because then that's when people will misunderstand anything. But yeah, personally, I think this would have been a draw and nobody would have won. But yeah, this is akames-sharingan. Hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys next time.
See you later.